No one's going to be able to see it.
We got another sheet and I can put it on. I've got another sheet.
We're really crammed on this side.
Okay.
Is Amanda not here? We should shuffle. Yeah, because things are
Anyone have an agenda?
It doesn't like.
Okay. We are here at the transition meeting, finally. And we'll start with, like usual, roll call and approval of the proxies whenever Jake is ready.
Wow.
And I don't put, well, name the pen was taken for one, but
Let's overrule it.
we have absences.
All right, Grothy.
Present.
Nah. Probably side. Lopez.
Here.
Elmore.
Here.
Plum.
Here.
Elvedekis.
Here.
Schumann.
Here.
Rogers.
Here.
Bottom. Real.
Here.
Barthel.
Here.
McBride.
Present.
Otten.
Here.
Roder. Vite.
Not here.
Cordelis.
Here.
Fulcher.
Here.
Knight.
Here.
Knudsen.
Aye.
Bennett. Heinemann.
Here.
Dexter.
Here.
Spellman.
Here.
Yes, one.
Awesome. We have no proxies, so we will continue. Approval of the agenda. Any changes or corrections to today's meeting agenda? Seeing none, it'll pass by unanimous consent. We'll move on to approval of the minutes. Changes, corrections for the meeting minutes that were sent out. Okay, also passes. We have no open floor yet, so we'll move on to unfinished business, which is the only resolution, the student organization handbook, resolution 18S02.
Campbell Overpeller, resolution number 18S022, read on the 28th of March 2018, originated by the Constitution Committee and presented by myself. And whereas this is the second reading, I will not read it again.
Discussion. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. No discussion on this resolution? Whenever
Can we go over the changes that were made regarding the, like, just the wording of the transition or whatever we talked about last time? New Year's Eve thing, the trips.
to the camp,
Yeah, the camp.
that sort of thing. Would you guys mind walking through that? The computer's back here. I can scroll for you.
Okay. We just took out any references to camp, and we took it out. And we added a border. If you don't like the border, we can take it out.
That's a significant change. I think it's just corners.
But beyond just the name change, you guys didn't have any structural
Nope,
changes on
that
this?
was it.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else on that reel? Okay. Senator McBride.
I'm going to make the order blue. Second.
Okay.
Dark blue.
Then a motion to change the border to blue.
Second.
Is there discussion on that motion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
We'll move on to a roll call vote. I'm so glad that we're doing this today.
Hold on a second. We are, if you say aye, it's blue. If you say nay, then it's going to stay the same. If not,
Nay.
property side.
Aye.
Lopez,
Nay.
Elmore,
Nay.
Plum,
Nay.
Elvedekis,
Nay. Water is nice.
Schumann,
Nay.
That's code.
Rogers,
Nay.
Real,
Nay.
Barthel,
Aye.
McBride,
Aye.
On,
Nay.
Roder,
Boring. Nay.
Vite, Cardelis,
Nay.
Fulcher,
Aye.
Knight,
Aye.
Knudsen,
Aye.
Penning, Spillman,
Nay.
Meinercher,
Aye.
what was that?
Aye.
Dexter,
Aye.
motion fails.
Wonderful. Further discussion on the content of this resolution. Actual summary question.
Yeah, what was it decided, was it 1 semester, 1 month, what?
The following semester.
Constitution. The following semester, meaning that if they were deactivated just before winter break, they could be reactivated right after. Okay. Any further discussion?
Yeah, aye.
Technically, we have a motion on the table, so we'll move on to a roll call vote. Whenever you're ready. Yeah, that's what that was. It just
Okay. Not,
Aye.
Robert Asad,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
Elmore,
Aye.
Plum,
Aye.
Elvedekis,
Aye.
Schumann,
Aye.
Rogers,
Aye.
Real,
Aye.
Barthel,
Aye.
McBride,
Aye.
On,
Aye.
Roder,
Aye.
Vite, Cardelis,
Aye.
Fulcher,
Aye.
Knight,
Aye.
Knudsen,
Aye.
Spillman,
Aye.
Meinercher,
Aye.
Dexter,
Aye.
Ayes have it. Perfect. We'll get this signed and then I know SALC, we can start working with new awards who are just getting set up. So we have one new resolution, which is the final resolution this year for our Senate, which is resolution number 18F023, approval of the new Senate. So you're real. Should we present this resolution?
Oh, that's fine. I can't read that.
Alright, Campbell Overpiller Resolution number 18S023, for the month of April 2018, originated by Governmental Relations, presented by myself. Whereas executive elections for the 2018-2019 school year were held on March 14th, 2018, and senator elections for the 2018-2019 school year were held on March 28th, 2018. And whereas the ticket comprised of Jacob Overpiller and Grant received a majority vote in the election sufficient to be declared. Sufficient to be declared the 2018-2019 Student Association President and Vice President. And whereas the following candidates were elected for the position of Senior Class Senator: Aaron Campbell, Caitlin Hall, Summer Rogers, Ezra Drummond, and whereas the following candidates were elected for the position of Junior Class Senator: Kate Schumann, Megan Reel, Brian Law, Tiara Phelan, Kate Knott, and whereas the following candidates were elected for the position of Sophomore Class Senator: Enzo Tesoro, Shelby Guthrie, Mark Rodert, Rosalia Dolly, Kenneth Fife, and noting that the 4 appointed positions will be decided by the President and Vice President and approved through majority vote by the Student Senate, and noting the final senior senator position will be confirmed after the results of the runoff election are announced, and therefore be it resolved by majority vote of the Student Senate and the signature of the Student Association President that the results of both elections, one on March 14th, 2018, and the other on March 28th, 2018, be formally recognized.
Thank you. Discussion on this resolution. Senator Elvedekis.
Do we know the results of the finals?
It goes to 9.
Well,
Just say grant.
it doesn't say.
All right.
Okay, so
What's your grant class?
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, all grants.
This is
Your opportunity to choose a grant.
Any grant.
That's correct.
Thank you.
I was
Or you can
speaking on behalf of grant.
Further discussion on this resolution, and thank you, Holster. Senator Dexter. There has been a motion to suspend the rules and vote on this today, made by Senator Dexter, seconded by Senator Spillman. Discussion on that motion. Okay, we will vote to suspend the rules.
Not.
Aye.
Providence, aye.
Pass.
Lopez.
Aye.
Elmore.
Aye.
Plum.
Aye.
Alvedekis.
Aye.
Schumer.
Aye.
Rogers.
Aye.
Rio.
Aye.
Barthel.
Aye.
McBride.
Aye.
Otten.
Aye.
Roder.
Aye.
Cardelis.
Aye.
Bolsher.
Aye.
Knight.
Aye.
Knudsen.
Aye.
Spillman.
Aye.
Meinerster.
Aye.
Dexter.
Aye.
Providence, aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Great, then we will move on and vote on this resolution.
Not.
Aye.
Providence, aye.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Elmore.
Aye.
Plum.
Aye.
Alvedekis.
Aye.
Schumer.
Aye.
Rogers.
Aye.
Rio.
Aye.
Barthel.
Aye.
McBride.
Aye.
Otten.
Aye.
Roder.
Aye.
Cardelis.
Aye.
Bolsher.
Aye.
Knight.
Aye.
Knudsen.
Aye.
Spillman.
Aye.
Meinerster.
Aye.
Dexter.
Unanimous passing. Congratulations to the new senators. As you can see on the agenda, we're going to do some open discussion reports, and then we'll do the oath of office, and you guys will finish up the meeting. So we'll move on to open discussion. Are there any topics for open discussion from the transitioning out Senate? Senator Clum.
I was just talking to Ari, would there be a way to change our constitution so we don't have to do that in the future? Just say in the event of electing senators,
I'm sure we could.
you have to wait.
Yeah, I think if you just want to put that in a note to the next Constitution Chair, we can consider some changes to that. I think that's a good. People like breaking the rules, though. So. Other items for open discussion. Senator Heinrich.
How is it written in the Constitution for if there is a tie or just so?
Sure.
Like, is there something that we need to put in place for what happened?
Yes, and that is something that will happen like first when we get back. So where the discrepancy sort of came up, and I know it puts you in a weird position, and I'm very sorry for that. So you both had 80 votes, and you had 2 write-in votes. We don't really specify anything about write-in votes, but the issue is that someone could potentially have clicked your name and then put your name in the write-in votes as well, and we can't track that. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that someone would write in your name and not click it when you were the option. And so the Constitution Committee took a vote, as to what we should do. And so we decided, just for the sake of making sure everything is on the up and up, we will do the runoff. But I think that we're going to need to talk to the Constitution, and that's a decision they get to make whether we should count write-ins, shouldn't count write-ins. But it needs to be more set in stone. And I'm very sorry that it's put you in this weird position. But I would like you to still serve in your position until we transition your position out. So. Because I read into sort of how we transition. I don't think that that's a problem. So. Other thoughts, kind of discussion on that topic, or if you have other thoughts on it, sort of being in this situation.
I mean, I guess are there ways to prevent it in the future from happening? I guess if someone is on the ballot, if their name ends up being written in, are all those votes going to be casted out in the future?
Yep, that's what. Go ahead, Ray. Probably. Further discussion? Okay, and again, that'll be something that will transition right away to the next Constitution show. Other items for open discussion? Okay, we'll move on to CFO report.
Okay. This is my last report as CFO. As you know, I'm not planning to run for CFO next year. But I don't really have a report, but I just want to say thank you to the finance team. I appreciate all of you, except for some of you. Just kidding. I appreciate all of you. I think that we had a really great team this year. I think everybody worked really hard, and I think it was a really successful finance year. So with that being said, I'd like to make the last Finance Friday fact of the day. It's something not many people know, is that carrot juice is the best juice. So, end of report.
End of report. Questions for finance? Nope. Glossing over it. Okay. Outgoing Vice President's report.
Okay, so the outstanding student service employee ballot was sent out last week, or passed around last week at the meeting. And the number with the most votes was Crystal Prime in the Industrial Engineering Department. And if you tallied her name, could you please just send me like a quick, brief statement, 1 or 2 sentences as to why you feel that she deserves this award? Because that way we can send that in along with not just, some tick marks next to her name. It would be really nice. Please do that by tomorrow. And also, I just want to say thank you all for a great year. I'm going to miss everybody that's going to be gone next year, and I really look forward to working with everybody that's staying. So, with that, unless there's questions.
Questions? Okay. Okay. I really don't have much of a report. Speaking of ballots we passed around, we sent 2 commencement speakers to the administration. One was our Senator Gina Elmore, and the other was Darren James. Both had a large number of votes compared to everyone else who was nominated. So, yeah, with that, just thank you guys. I spoke a little bit last week, but I'm appreciative of the service that you guys have put in. I know it's not always a fun job. It's not always feels like a worthwhile job, but the students who come after you directly reap the benefits of the discussions we have, of the decisions we make. So it is important. And so for those of you staying, remember that. Continue to take it seriously and try to be the best representative of your class that you can be. And for those leaving, thank you so much. I know we have some people graduating. We're going to miss you sorely, and the other ones we'll see around campus. So. With that, end of report, unless you guys have questions. All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Constitution.
I just want to say thanks to my committee. You guys did a lot of really good work. That's about it.
Questions? All right, PR or GR.
Alright, so the special election is still going on until 9, and I'll be sending out the results as soon as I get them to the people that are in the election still, and then, yeah, I guess, thanks, committee, for all of your hard work. I don't have really much else to say.
Question for GR. PR.
Okay, I want to start off saying thanks to my committee because they all worked really, really hard. And our last 2, even though you guys aren't really senators, we're still going to make you Senate of the Week. I'd like to thank you for all your hard work this year. So Aaron and Jake, I'll be contacting you with information we need.
Questions for PR? Okay. SA?
I'd also like to thank my committee. I think we got a couple balls rolling in good areas, and hope that the next Student Affairs Committee continues.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Any questions for SA? And you guys are going to leave the common board out this week for a while?
Yeah.
Well, one of you guys will maintain it for a little while, just transition out. Okay. Did campus or ad hoc committees meet?
The beautification committee did not meet in person, so we had some scheduling conflicts, but I do have an announcement. On Thursday, April 26th, they are doing a tree planting, is that correct? In honor of former football player Jordan Christensen. We are looking for senators to be able to help out with that at 11 a.m. Does anyone think they'll be around on Thursday, April 26th?
At 11? You said 11?
Yeah, 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Just we have a few.
Sure.
I'll post on Facebook.
Anything else on beautification? Any other campus or ad hoc?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
go ahead.
just add that, remember that the Student Association established the tree fund in 2013, and you've allowed for that money that hasn't been spent to be used, and so Student Association's actually funding the tree, for the tree fund.
Okay. Other campus ad hoc?
The cultural expo is tomorrow and Saturday.
So go. It'll be fun. Any other campus? Senator Godakis.
So Turk met and the first time of the semester, and they discussed a couple minor things such as repairs to the radio tower on MPIL and a couple other finance things, and that's it.
Thank you. Questions for Turk? Any other campus or ad hocs? The mobile computing grant, I emailed 3 of you. Is there another senator? I know, would you raise your hand if you think you volunteered for that ad hoc? I thought we had one more senator. And did I send it to you?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Well, is there a senator who'd be interested in an previous senator? It'll be like one meeting, and you have to do a little bit of research. I'm looking for one more senator. What's this about? Senator Club. Wonderful. Thank you. It's about the mobile computing grant. If you'd be interested, okay, I'll send you guys both the information. For those of you who already sent it to, if you could reply with some times at work so that we could just set up a quick meeting, I just need you to read those things beforehand. So, any other campus or ad hoc committees? Once, twice? Senator Brabazan.
Can the outgoing Senate get an update on concert?
The outgoing Senate. So currently, we're still waiting on the price for the backline for the new artist that we're looking at. And once we get that, then we can formulate an offer to send to the artist and find out.
I'm hoping that happens by then.
So, that works.
Senator Elmore.
This isn't a ad hoc committee, but don't forget that the ASCE regionals is here this weekend. We'll have 400 students. You guys know I've said it every week. But competitions start tomorrow, but they won't be interesting for the public. But Friday is our steel bridge competition, and then Saturday is our canoe races. So if you have any questions, just ask a civil. Well done.
Questions on the ASE?
I've heard conflicting, or heard different things about where the canoe's gonna be raced.
They'll be raced at Angostura near Hot Springs. If the weather is too cold, then they won't happen, but that's where it's going to be if it does happen.
Sorry. Anything else on the ASC conference? Any other campus ad hocs? Anything for the good of the cause? Last opportunity to speak as a senator. Okay. I would like to pass out some certificates and recognize all of you guys, including our CFO, Danny. I messed up. Yeah. Vice President Overfiller, would you join me? Sorry. Like I said, seriously, guys, thank you so much. And please, I know, sometimes a certificate doesn't mean much, but from the bottom of my heart, I just really want to thank you guys for a great year, a great learning experience for me. I think the Senate accomplished a lot of things. Still a lot of things to do, but we just need to make sure we transition well. So, with that, I'd first like to thank Danica, our secretary, although it says CFO on here. So you can add that to your resume. Come up, you gotta come up here, clap. Thank you. Yep. I don't know what order these are in, so Summer Rogers. No, it's good. What? You should start with you read them all.
All right, Sahil, Providence side. Ezra McBride. Okay. Eileen Spillman. Brock Barthel. Shane Reel. Luke Vadekis. Oh, God. Kane Knott. Kate Schumann. Ben Heinerter. No Klum. Ari Lopez. Gina Elmore. Paige Dexter.
No.
Abby On. Glenn Cordelis. Mark Roeder. And it's gone. Jonathan Holscher. Soham Naik. Ed Knudsen.
Secret Santa expert, is that his title?
Oh, you know me.
And Ezra Grove.
Amanda's.
Why does it say secretary? No, it
And on the same note, I would like to bring Grant and Jake and give them their official name plaques. I wrote Jake. Jake. I was just going to like put new numbers on your other one, cross out lines. So you guys have to come up here. Yeah, you have to share your name. Congratulations, Phil.
Want to take it out?
Sure, wherever you want. Over here by the podium. Just have. Sure, of course. I know, it's a lot of pictures. We don't take this many pictures usually.
They do.
Our music, yeah, that's how we get the tracks, but
Yeah,
got
And coordinator.
Let's start a Facebook page. Former senators who are James Hamilton. You guys are all infected.
Jake doesn't get 2 bucks.
No, he should. There's one back there.
For everything Eric's done.
Hey, again, so this is my last opportunity to kind of speak to you guys as a group, but thank you. I'm going to keep saying it, but I really mean it. When I came in, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, and you guys have done so much more than what I thought I could do. and I really haven't done anything. I've just sort of watched you guys do your thing. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks. With that, Jake and Grant, it is time to take the oath of the office. Up at the front. We're just walking around, back and forth. And it's one. We'll do it one at a time. So.
Okay.
Just a second. Please raise your right hand and repeat the following. As a member of the Student Association Senate
As a member of the Student Association Senate
of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology,
of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology,
I state your name.
I, Jacob Oberkiller,
Do hereby affirm
do hereby affirm
to uphold the office of Student Association Senate President,
to uphold the office of Student Association Senate President,
to abide by the Student Association Constitution,
to abide by the Student Association Constitution,
and to represent the Student Association
and to represent the Student Association
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Same, raise your right hand. As a member of the Student Association Senate
As a member of the Student Association Senate
of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology,
of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology,
I state your name.
I, Grant Russell,
Do hereby affirm
do hereby affirm
to uphold the office of Student Association Senate Vice President,
to uphold the office of the Student Association Senate Vice President,
to abide by the Student Association Constitution,
to abide by the Student Association Constitution,
and to represent the Student Association
and to represent the Student Association
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. All you.
All right, everybody.
So I'm asserting myself here between senates, as the outgoing senate and the new senate coming in, as the advisor to Student Association. We've been saying a lot of thank yous tonight, but I also want to say thank you. And I sometimes don't know if you realize how important the Student Association really is. Sometimes when you're in it, you don't feel it as much. But it's a very important governing body for the students at the School of Mines, and you are held in high respect by faculty and staff and administration. A lot of times we're calling on Senate for opinions and those sorts of things. So really want to thank you for that. You have been a great Senate, and when you reflect back, you've really accomplished a lot. You're here every Wednesday night, a lot of time, energy, dedication. So thank you for that. A special thank you to Ari and to Aaron for serving on the Presidential Search Committee. And that was a huge undertaking, and you accomplished many things. And I think as students, you felt very heard and respected. And also for the students that came to those open forums. Thank you very much for that. And I think it's exciting, the seniors who are leaving. We've got some great senators that are graduating, and I do think it would be important if you would just briefly, those of you that are graduating in May, if you just stand briefly and tell us what's next.
I'll be working in Minnesota, Monticello, working for Cargill, where they make eggs and French toast. So it's gonna be cool.
It's weird. I will be in Peru for 4 weeks, living in the middle of a jungle, learning about myself, I'm sure. And then I will be back in Norfolk, Nebraska, working as an environmental engineer for steel mill, Nucor Steel.
I will be moving down to Kansas to work for Burns McDonnell, and I'll be working in telecommunications.
Great. Let's get these seniors big. And from Tori's and my aspect, we plan that you all graduate and walk across the stage as hard rockers. So big deal. Some of you that are have been senators this year and aren't returning as senators, but returning to Mines, you have a special purview and a special insight into Senate and that sort of thing. So really continue to work with classmates in that, about what's best for the university. You have a real voice. Speak up about that. Come back in for open forums and dialogues and bring forward resolutions and work with the Constitution Committee and continue that. And new senators, really looking forward to working with you this next year. Corey?
Yeah, I echo all of those things. Thank you for a wonderful year. All the things you've accomplished, Aaron, great job in your year as president. Congratulations to our seniors that are getting ready to leave. And extra congratulations to Gina, who was selected for the 2018 Hall of Fame. So she'll be receiving that honor here a week from Sunday. So yeah, thank you. This is of all the groups and things that we get to work with. It's always really exciting to work with this group and all the positive changes. So keep up the good work and looking forward to working with the new Senate.
All right. Well, with that, we are going to have the new senator. Can you please come up to the front? That includes the requirements or the senators that will be on Senate next year. All of that. So, after. Yes. First, let's have the sophomore class senators. So, would you please? So, sophomore.
Shelby and Ken aren't here.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Okay, so please raise your right hand and repeat after me. As a member of the Student Association Senate of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, I state your name. Do hereby affirm to uphold the office of sophomore class senator, to abide by the Student Association Constitution, and to represent the Student Association to the best of my ability. Congrats. All right, juniors. Okay. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. As a member of the Student Association Senate of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, I state your name. Do hereby affirm to uphold the office of junior class senator, to abide by the Student Association Constitution, and to represent the Student Association to the best of my ability. Congrats. All right, seniors. Please raise your.
Oh, yeah, I texted her. She said she was going to be up, but she's not. So, okay.
So raise your right hand and repeat after me. As a member of the Student Association Senate
As a member of the Student Association Senate
of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, I state your name.
I, Aaron Campbell,
Do hereby affirm to uphold the office of Senior Class Senator, to abide by the Student Association Constitution, and to represent the Student Association to the best of my ability. Congrats, guys. Okay, new senators, please take your seats, and transitioning senators, if you want to stick around, you can, to help us out. Eat more food. No, you didn't. Thank you, everybody. Yes.
That person here. Let's be the lone, let's be the lone people over here.
All right. Whoa.
Yeah. It's always really empty.
Oh, it's your pen. Just grab it. I'm like, really fidgety here this scene.
I gave him a huge hug.
What? Yep, just the new senators.
Okay, so first off, for new business. All right, first off, new business, we have resolution 18S001, so constitution updates. That is,
Senator, man, this is really good. Okay, Oberpiller Russell, resolution 18S001, April 4, 2018, originated by Finance Committee, presented by myself. Whereas the SOAP Constitution is lacking in certain explanations of funding restrictions and penalties, noting these Constitution changes include updating several SOAP funding restrictions, revising the supplemental and new venture funding process, and making several minor enhancements to the document. Therefore, be it resolved by majority vote of the Student Senate and the signature of the Student Association President that the revised SOAP Constitution attached on the following pages of this resolution be approved to go into effect July 1st, 2018, allowing for formal recognition. So let's see, this is going to be a little difficult because I can't control the mouse.
You can just go back there.
Actually, could I do that?
yeah.
That would be great.
Please raise your hand when you'd like to speak.
I'll have to.
No. Ezra! No, you cannot just grab the computer.
This is getting off to a great start. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this. What I'm going to do initially is turn on.
Senator Campbell.
Thank you. For the new senators who have no idea what this is about, do not worry. So there's a week before we'll even vote on this, and so I recommend that you meet with someone on finance who will kind of walk you through why we made these changes. I know Ezra will talk about it briefly, but you have a whole week before you even have to decide how to vote. So just so you guys are aware.
Yeah.
Don't be overwhelmed.
Thank you for that, Aaron. So we made a lot of changes actually in this update, and I'm really proud of where we've come with the Constitution. Essentially, we heard some complaints from an advisor that there were some issues with the Constitution. That really caused us to dig into this. So I'll go over kind of the main things. Most of this stuff isn't crucial, so we'll kind of skip over it, and I would recommend to read it on your own after the meeting over the course of next week. Definitely look into this and study it, try to find if we made any mistakes. But I'll jump to the most interesting bits. So in this section, I have to turn off markup. Oops.
If you could.
There we go. Okay, so we've changed supplemental funding to encompass both new venture funding and supplemental funding. So there's only one type of funding available to organizations now. And the reason for this is it felt complicated, and it felt like we weren't being consistent to our new venture funding people and our supplementals. They were different forms involved. So what we've done is if an organization has not applied for general SOAP funding in the past, they're limited to a one-time allocation up to $750, and which is essentially new venture, but it's larger and it's not recurring. So they can only get it once, as opposed to 3 times over the course of 3 semesters potentially. And stop me if you have questions on any of this stuff. Senator Reel?
Is the funding coming from the same account as before, like when they're combined, it's just kind of?
That's correct. So it'll be coming from the same account. We've updated some wording here, SOAP deadlines. So I'll get more to that change in a second, but I'll kind of go through the Constitution here. So we made some changes to wording in here, and sort of made it more clear. Penalties, there's been some stuff, wherever there's red, there's been changes. So you can just hit up here and look at them on your own. And okay, so this is where it gets interesting. In the restrictions for use of SOAP funds, we've removed the clause that talks about religious funding, and instead changed it to say, right here, SOAP funds will not be allocated to events that involve sectarian ceremonies or exercises, like we talked about. And I'll make a quick comment that applies to this. At the bottom, we've added an article, a general article, that says, in the case of discrepancies or lack of clarity, the Finance Committee will resolve the issue at their discretion. Because that clause is sort of a little subjective, almost intentionally so, we're going to sort of look at it case by case, but for the time being, we will be funding the religious organizations that we have on campus based off that clause. And then this is just, we'll sort of handle issues in the future and allow us to use our discretion on a case by case basis. So let's jump back up. Sure, Senator Campbell.
Thank you.
My bad.
So,
Can't do that.
did you guys consider maybe having an appeals process rather than just having at the discretion, the finance team will just do this, that someone needs to fill out a formal appeal if there's something that's not clear?
Are you referring like the finance team submitted?
No, like someone else would have to fill out like a formal appeal if there was something that they didn't believe was unclear, and then finance could deal with it in more of a process way rather than just deal with it at their discretion.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Article 10, grievance policy.
Okay.
So organizations can submit a grievance to the president 7 days before we talk about it, so raise their case, and then it'll be up to the discretion of the student association body, majority vote. The finance team is not part of that, so it'll be if a student has an issue with any sort of decision that the finance team has made. Is that sort of
So it gets voted on by the entire student body?
Okay, so this is the way it was. I did not change this.
Okay.
I agree with you. I think this should not say body. I agree with you.
Well, unless the intention was to have it be a school-wide vote.
Personally, I don't think it should be a school-wide vote. It's not. I think it should stay within the Senate. This was something that was existence. I did not add this clause right down here, so I didn't catch that. We could make an amendment and just delete the word body and still vote on it next week because people will still have a week. Does anybody have objection to that? I guess I'd have to. Oh, I can make motions now. This is great. I would like to move to non-friendly amend this and remove the word body.
There's been a motion to amend the Constitution to not say body and instead replace it with.
Nothing, just delete the word body.
No, you want it to stay in Senate, you would need to put Senate.
Okay, change body to Senate.
Okay, there's been a motion to amend the Constitution, which is connected to the resolution, to not say body, but Senate in Article 10. Do we have a second? Made by Senator Brophy, seconded by Senator Knott. Any discussion on the motion?
I disagree. I think the intention of this clause would be that if people feel that Senate are not following the Constitution, that they should have the right to vote as a body. And I think keeping it within Senate sort of means that this grievance policy doesn't, I mean, if people feel that the Senate is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, it makes no sense to have the Senate be the ones that vote on the grievance policy.
So I disagree with that. I think the Senate is in charge of these decisions, and what the purpose of this is to step outside the finance rule in case the finance team has made a bad decision. And then the Senate will hear the case, and make the decision without the finance team being in control.
I think as senators, we should use our ability, or like we should voice the opinions of our constituents on matters like these. I think it's okay to change that to Senate, because if you go out and actually talk to your constituents, it shouldn't be the problem of not representing or voicing that opinion.
Senator Schumer?
In the first paragraph of the grievance policy, the last, like, three words are student association body.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, and I think that maybe the intention was to have it be Senate. I mean, I'm still a little against that. But the fact that it says the meeting of the student association body in section A, 7 calendar days before the meeting of student association body in which agreed party, kind of makes me feel like they're implying that they're trying, that it's a Senate meeting. I could be wrong, but again, I mean, it needs to be clarified one way or another.
Well, look at this. No, I still think we need to change it, because obviously we're doing the voting right now. So I guess could I change my motion to fix all those bodies?
You can retract your motion.
Okay, I retract it, and now I created a new motion to change those 3 locations of body to Senate.
Okay, there's been a motion made by Senator Grumpy to change the SOAP Constitution in Article 10, the 3 places where it says Student Association Body to say Student Association Senate. And is there a second? Seconded by Senator Roder. So any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. Any further discussion on the resolution?
Could we, Danica, would you be able to change the, or I have to do that?
I'm gonna call on our Constitution Committee member. If there is a change in the SOAP Constitution with former Constitution chair, there's a change in the SOAP Constitution and within a resolution, well, it's the overarching Constitution, that just cannot be voted on until, well, it's not gonna be voted on until next week. But it doesn't matter anyways. Okay, so we're good.
Okay. So let's look at a couple other sections here that are noteworthy. I'll try to go through this quickly. So this is one thing we talked about. This is unchanged from before. So in terms of organizations that restrict by size, such as the dance team or the cheer team, but they don't restrict based on anything else, we, as a finance team, sort of chose to interpret this as allowing those organizations to exist, because they don't exclude membership from any type of student. They just exclude based off of a certain size restriction. But any student has the capability to be a part of their organization. If that makes sense.
So the goal is to make it, sorry I'm talking a lot, but the goal is to make this so that the dance team does qualify for SOAP funds?
That's correct.
So the fact that not all of their members can participate in all organization events, though, doesn't that sort of exclude them?
Well,
like if you have a performance and they aren't in the performing team.
Is this a follow-up?
Yeah, follow-up. So essentially, it gets to be a tricky conversation, because what does it mean to exclude? Technically, they could be capable of doing it. It's just because of the size restrictions, they aren't. Do you kind of see where I'm going with that? So they're not being discriminated against. They're not being sort of segregated. They're just because of the size of the club.
Senator Schumer?
saying that everybody's ability to try out is true, like they have the capability to like join the club if they want to, but then you can say the same thing about honor societies, like everybody here starts out and they have the capability to maintain their GPA and stuff to qualify, but I guess if you can kind of compare it to that.
Senator Wu.
I think it like helps boost like an elite thing to have people like, cause like you have, we all have the same opportunity to join or whatever, but it's based off of ability, not like race or like sex or anything. Like it's purely ability based, and I think that's a big discrepancy between like excluding people.
And I brought this up last week as far as like open discussion. There didn't seem to be a lot of conversation then, which is why we sort of made this decision, if that helps.
Senator Chen.
Will finance be meeting this week to go over some of these changes?
We can if senators want us to. If there's like enough opinion on the senators that we should like change stuff up, we could and push the resolution out a week.
I mean, I'd be interested.
Be interested in doing that. Would others be interested in doing that?
Any other interests? Volunteers? Senator Schumer?
Yes. Okay.
Senator
Okay.
Wu? Senator Heinrich?
Okay, so there's lots of interest. I will be sending an email to you guys. We'll set a time.
Can you attach the changes to it?
To the email? I will do that. Okay. Thank you. So we'll talk about this as well as anything else. Another thing we've done is we've divided up these restrictions. Used to just be one section. We've changed it into two sections, which makes more sense. Restrictions for the use of SIL funds and restrictions for the allocation of SIL funds. So this talks about what the finance team will do. This talks about what the business office will do in terms of stopping organizations from spending certain types of money. It makes more sense because they were all jumbled up before. Otherwise, these things are mostly all the same as they were before. And then finally, the last thing I'll kind of note is down here, there's only one article for supplemental funding because, again, as I talked about, no new venture funding anymore. We've also changed a couple things. Now, organizations can only receive up to $5,000 in supplemental funding in any 2 years. So they can ask us, and they can keep coming back for more, but that's the most that we will give them in a 2-year span. So what we'll do is if they ask for supplemental funding, we'll just look at their last year's supplemental funding allocations and this year's and see if it's less than 5,000.
Sorry to be so nitpicky. Could we add 2 consecutive fiscal years, please?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're probably right.
And I know we'll talk about this during the meeting. So.
Is that a friendly?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
We aren't voting this week anyway.
He's doing that. Any further discussion on this resolution? Okay, moving on to, unless you want me to keep going. Sorry.
Okay, no, I can, that's probably good.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to discuss more changes.
No, definitely reach out to me if you have questions, and please look through this. Again, remember, just hit this button, and you can, it's really messy, but you can see everything in underlined is new, and everything that's crossed out is deleted. So everything's recorded. Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll be moving on to resolution 18S002, formula team supplemental request.
Here we go.
Overfill Russell, resolution number 18S002 for April 2018, originated by Finance Committee, presented by myself. Whereas the formula team has approached the Finance Committee with a supplemental request for funds to help cover travel expenses to their annual competition, whereas the appropriate paperwork has been filed with the Finance Committee, and whereas the Finance Committee has deemed $3,955 as an appropriate amount to allocate to the organization, and therefore be it resolved by majority vote of the Student Senate and the signature of the Student Association President SOAP reverted funds account to 4SA003 to formula team.
Any discussion on the resolution? Senator Grogan.
Danica, would you be able to scroll down to the next page where we've got the budget? So this is a request that we got last week. Their total request was $9,055, which is obviously more than we're even able to give them because $5,000 is the cap. But the reason why they're coming in is last year we cut their budget. We cut off the competition cost because we told them you guys can come in if you are going to competition because we had doubts that they were actually going to go. And now they're going and their car's basically done and they're really excited. So they need money and so we deemed $4,000 to send their vehicles. They're bringing two 12-passenger vans. One of the vans is hauling a trailer with their actual car. So it's kind of an expensive trip.
Further discussion? Can you scroll down, please?
I yield my time to ex-Constitution Chair Ari Lopez.
I just had a quick question. How is their car doing? Because I heard that there was a big fire and stuff and that their car was destroyed. So, like an ME building. So how is that all going? Just a random question.
Senator Saul.
Okay, so what happened with the fire was that that the carbon fiber oven that we use to cook our front wing, or the team's front wing, had a problem. The oven itself had problems, so it was just the front wing of the team's aero element. So it was not the car, and the car is going to be done in time for competition, according to the team's president. And as part of Formula Team, I can see that the car is going to be done in time for competition.
Any further discussion on the resolution? Senator Tassau.
I have a quick question. So the money that $3,900 was that included the last year's money that they requested for last year's competition that they attended? That the Senate had told them that they were going to receive money for last year's competition and then this year's competition. Is that included for both of them?
No, that's not. I guess that's not quite the way I understood it. Last year, I was under the impression that they were able to fund that trip, and so this request was just for this year's trip. That's what I understood from Daniel Nosbush.
Okay.
At least.
Any further discussion? Okay, make sure you guys talk about this one as well throughout the week. I know you don't have committees yet, but we're discussing. Senator Campbell.
Sorry, really quick. So I'm a little confused why the total unfunded expenses is $1,600. What total?
Right. So the reason why this is they have $10,000 in current liquid cash right now, and so that's everything, all their cash and all their expenses, and they're short $1,600. What the case is, though, is they are trying to put away a bunch of that foundation money, because most of it's foundation money. Like I want to say like $8,000.
Okay, so they're just trying not to blow through all their.
Exactly. Does that make sense?
Further discussion? Senator.
The reasoning for not giving them a full 5 was because of like the amount of people going with, like 5,000.
Yeah, actually, so the main reason for the cut was we felt $5,000 was maybe a little generous, and they also have a significant amount of money coming in from buy-ins from the students going, and then there's also a couple other fundraisers that they're doing. So we felt that 5,000 was, or the amount that we allocated was sufficient, basically.
Any further discussion? Said that like 5 times. No? Okay, we're going to see this resolution next week. Please talk amongst yourselves about it. The next resolution is Resolution 18S003, Blackgate New Venture Funding.
We have to go back and forth because nobody else on finance team. It's really sad. Okay, anyway, so this is Overpill Russell, resolution number 18S003, April 4th, 2018, originated by Finance Committee, presented by myself. Whereas the Blackgate Club has approached the Finance Committee with a supplemental request for funds to help cover travel expenses to their annual competition. Whereas the appropriate paperwork has been filed with the Finance Committee, and whereas the Finance Committee has deemed $500 as an appropriate amount to allocate to the organization, therefore be resolved by a majority vote of the Student Senate and signature of the Student Association President that $500 be allocated from the SOAP Converted Funds account for SA 003 to Blackgate.
Okay, so I actually have a question before we start discussion. Will, if this resolution were to be voted on next week after the Constitution updates and that eradicated the venture funding, will this resolution be null?
It will not, because the SOAP Constitution updates are going into effect next fiscal year.
Oh, okay.
So they won't actually go to effect. Gotcha.
And the SOAP ones have to be voted on by the student body, correct?
SOAP constitutions? No.
They don't? Okay.
It says within the Constitution itself that the Senate votes on. Okay, I'll try to go into just a bit of detail. If you'd like to scroll down on this one too, a little bit of detail. It turned out really messy, but this club is all about like old, medieval times. Excel didn't exist with this club, so I mean, it's kind of a suggest, but so that's all right. Anyways, so this club has been in existence since like 1990. It's very old, but they went out of phase for like 4 years, I want to say, in the past 3 or 4 years. Now they're back, so they're asking for $500. They are, if you guys aren't familiar, Blackgate, they do reenactments of old, basically living. Some of it's fighting, but some of it's just living, where they get like armor, or they might like live in tents and get cookware and live as if it was like 1200s or 1800s, 800s, I don't know, different time periods that are not now. So it's an interesting club, and they need a few different supplies that they keep within the club's ownership, and then they distribute it out to their members. They've got about 20 members right now. Seems pretty active, seems pretty excited about their club. And I made sure to sort of feel them out on what they're going to be doing with the club's items. Like they're not just going to be going into each other. And they said that it stays within the club. They don't let they don't let members just keep what the club owns. Because that's the main thing I was worried about. Any questions?
What are the current rules for the venture funding when it comes to applying for SOAP the previous year? Because Blackgate applied for SOAP and did not show up for their presentation.
Right. Technically, they didn't apply for SOAP. Well, good point. They did apply for SOAP. Aaron, that's an issue. I didn't think about that. I think we might need to honestly look into that. That could be an issue.
Okay, so
Thank you for that.
Since we don't know for sure.
Yeah, I think we have to
be able to go forward.
table this resolution.
Yes, or I mean we can't vote on it anyways. So please meet this week and discuss whether or not we can fund or whether we can do that or not.
Yeah.
And next week if we do not know whether or not we can vote a motion or a resolution or table it. So.
That sounds good. Okay.
Okay. So that is all for the resolutions that we've got today. We'll be moving on to the Vice President's report. I'm sure you've got a lot.
So I've made a Google Calendar, and I've sent out a lot of the invites to it. Hopefully, a lot of you have seen that. Put on, when we'll meet, any breakfasts that we have, any special stuff will just be right on there. So that should be really easy for you guys to organize yourselves off of. Other than that, excited to work with all you.
So is that shared with all of you senators?
Yes. This should happen like this.
Okay. You guys got it? All right, cool. Moving on, my report. So I've got committee preference forms, and I'm going to pass these around. Do you want to just So you're gonna, it's got your name up at the top. Can you please put your name and your student ID number so that I can add you to the F drive? That would just make this process simpler. Also, for the new senators, you got 5 committees. You got student affairs, constitution, governmental relations, public relations, and finance. We can go through just a quick rundown of what each committee is. We want to start with student affairs. Senator Palisade is gone. So, all right, Aaron, you want to go over it?
Student affairs, their job is to communicate what Senate does to the students. It's not PR in the sense that you aren't trying to reach the community, reach the administration. You are solely focused on the students and gauging what they think of things and making sure that they feel like they have a say. The comment board, that would be student affairs, because we wanted to give people an opportunity to speak their mind in a way that maybe they weren't before. And that's the role of student affairs. They also compose the email that is sent out bi-weekly.
Okay, questions on that? Constitution, Ari, do you want to discuss a little bit what Constitution does?
I yield my time to Ari Lopez.
So the Constitution Committee is in charge of helping new student organizations become formally recognized on campus. So you meet with potential student orgs and you help them develop a constitution. You tell them the things that they can and cannot do before becoming a club, and then you tell them all the benefits of becoming an organization, and then get them in contact with the CFO if they do want to apply for supplemental funding or SOAP for the following fiscal year. And then you also are in charge of the Constitution and bylaws for the Student Association Senate. So any Constitution updates that you want to make need to be approved by the whole student body. And you work with the committee and the rest of the Senate to do those. And then the bylaw updates need to be voted on by the entire Senate. And then you also do other fun things like meet with SALC to determine how the Constitution Committee and SALC can work together to help student organizations. And you do activity reports once a year, so you determine how active an organization is on campus and if they should still be an active organization on campus.
Okay, any questions about Constitution Committee? No, governmental relations? Anyone want to do a quick one on that?
Richard. Okay, so governmental relations are GR. So they're in charge of all elections, like setting up, getting stuff talked. Wow, I really can't do words today. So you just like set up stuff with IT and make sure you get all the petitions and everything out and like processed and everything. And then in February we have a thing called SHED, Students for Higher Education Days. That's when we go to peer, we go lobby if there's any legislation going through about students or that would impact students. And we get to talk to like legislators, people in the House and everything. It's really cool. And then GR is also in charge of morale events and everything, just keeping the Senate all happy.
So also along with that, one thing that we're going to try to do this year is get more involved in city council. So that would be governmental relations. Job, that's PR. No, PR. So that's one thing that's new and exciting for GR. PR.
Okay, PR, basically you take anything that's happening in Senate and you're the voice that connects like Senate to the students. You manage all of our social media accounts, you put up flyers, you do a lot with the Hard Rock Discount program. It's a lot about just communication between us and the student body, vice versa.
How many community reference ones are there over there?
There's an extra one if you need one.
Just one.
Do you need
Should have
more?
been like 20 copies.
There's only one.
Somebody's.
Okay, if you didn't fill out a form, could you please come to the Senate office directly after this meeting, and we'll just fill one out.
Why don't you guys take over?
We got one. Yeah, there's
And there's one more. So we got two. You can take one. Nice. Also with public relations, we're going to try to get involved with the Chamber of Commerce as well. So more stuff with the community. Ezra, you want to talk about finance?
I'd love to talk about finance. Finance is a busy committee. We basically manage all of the cert allocations to all of the organizations that request for on campus. We also handle GAF allocations, which goes to athletics, Cervex Center, and SALC, anything involving finances we see. And we're a busy committee, especially during the first part of the spring semester when we sit down with pretty much every organization on campus and hear a pitch as to why they want money. So let me know if you have any more questions.
All right, cool. So under that, it says also if you're interested in a chair position, so that is the head of the committee. So if you are interested in that, I will be talking to you after you hand in the forms. And then at the bottom there's also campus committees or ad hoc, and those are just different committees that are special interest groups around campus for different things. You can go through the list, and please choose 3 of those. And if you have any questions about what certain ones are, just come and ask me. Other than that, I've also got a sign-up sheet for office hours. As a senator, you are one of your duties is to have 2 office hours throughout the week, and that can be any time. We like to have them between Monday and Friday because that's when students are going to be into the office, and so that's just if they have any questions or anything, then that's what it's there for. We would like, it's best if this is spread out and filled out, but it also is nice when you have somebody in there that you can talk to, maybe somebody that's been in Senate before. So if somebody comes in and asks a question and you don't know the answer, you can kind of bounce off. So it'd be nice if you had like an office buddy kind of thing. So talk amongst yourselves. And also on the back of that, we've got the UAB breakfast sign up. So on April 23rd, we're going to have the University Advisory Board here, and they like to have that breakfast with the senators. So that's going to be from 7:30 to 8:15 in the Buff Lounge. Do you want to talk any more about that?
Just that it's one of those times where the University Advisory Board, people that are coming in from business industry, alums, they're really wanting to hear what students think and that sort of thing, and so it's a big deal.
All right.
Well, nice school clothes, and it's nice to dress up if it's conducive for your day. But
I would
and
say,
polo, well, okay,
I would say business formal or wear your Senate polo.
yeah, because they'll be in suits, nice, very much.
And then I'll just add, if you click on the Google Calendar, if you click on the event, it'll tell you, the location and like attire, anything that.
So I'm going to send around the sign-up sheet. We got both office hours and UAB breakfast sign up. So we'll go this way this time.
The one thing, if you sign up for that breakfast, it's important to go. Our RSVP is important. They are really, and what the organizers will do, will have a student with several advisory board members, and so they're really looking at the numbers.
Okay, so that is all for forms. I will be getting name tags before next meeting, hopefully. Yeah, that's all. So I'm looking forward to this year. It's going to be awesome. We've still got a lot of spots to fill, as you can see. So we're going to be having more and more senators coming in as appointed positions start filling in, and then also in the fall we've got freshmen coming in. So with that, tomorrow I'm leaving for NACA. It's a National Association Campus Activities Conference in Minneapolis, St. Paul. So I'll be out for the weekend. If you have any questions, please email the SA.president email or the SA.vice president email. I'll be responding to email and talking to Grant throughout the weekend. So I'm going to try to get those committee preference forms committees figured out by early next week. So by next meeting we know who the committees are, and then we can even sit in your committee during the meeting. That way we can have a little bit more of a, I guess, focused meeting. So other than that, what's that? Oh yeah, that'll be afterwards. So other than that, I think that's all I've got. Unless you have any questions about next week processes, anything, new senators, old senators? Okay, cool. So upcoming senator business. What do we got going on? UAB breakfast, tree planting, trivia on the 18th. That's right. We have enough people signed up for a team, but you can sign up as well. It's at Hershey's.
Yes.
And you do not have to be 21 to attend.
Right.
It starts at 7.
Yeah, you just send me.
It will be the most fun you have ever had in your whole life.
He says that
with a steel smile.
Yeah. Okay. What else? Is there any other upcoming Senate business?
So the National Society of Black Engineers will be having an open forum on the 16th, which is a Monday. It's about gun laws and stuff. So they would like to see more senators. Open forum, so that. Okay, it's on the 16th at the Pub Lounge from 4 to 5:30 p.m.
So, for the new senators, biggest tradition in Senate is Secret Santa, and it's right around the corner. So please be prepared. It's coming up.
I thought you're not on Senate anymore.
What do you mean I'm on Senate?
Okay, any other announcements?
Okay, so a couple things. So next week is Happenin's Spring Fling, so there's events all week next week. And it accumulates on Friday with bingo. We're helping sponsor that event as the SALC. What I encourage you, one, to go to that event is part of Accepted Students Day. So there's going to be about 50 students that are going to be here in the fall that we can start getting them ready to be on campus. And I hear there's a chance that we might be giving a Nintendo Switch away as part of bingo. So right now it's in the ballroom, but it may switch to the classroom building. So tell people, let's really help support Happening next week on all the programming that they're doing.
Any further announcements? I entertain a motion. Motion to adjourn made by Senator Campbell and seconded by Senator Manager. Any discussion on the motion?
Out before 8. Out before 8.
Yeah. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. You don't have a vote. Meeting adjourned.
When do you think the results for the special election will be out?
Probably not till the morning. If I get them tonight, I'll email you. And then I will, if I don't have something by 8 tomorrow, I will email.
Okay, so if everybody can break down a table, these long ones, that would be super cool.
That also, please, if you have time, come to the Senate office and print out some of those committee reference forms if you haven't filled one out.
Hey, guys, if you're a new senator who didn't fill out a committee preference form and you didn't get it, make sure he gets your student ID. That's the most important part.
You should have been like, hey, you don't rule this thing,
Well, he can. I'm just trying to help.
Yeah.
So let's just set him over there for now. I think.
Where do the chairs go?
So we're gonna go on the round tables in the back.
Oh, okay.
That's right, man.
You said you wanted.
That would be great. That would be awesome. Thanks.
No, leave the circular ones just the. All right, what are your 4 agendas?
I was going to recycle these unless you want to take them.
I will send it out, like, as soon as the information is like, hey, we're in, it's not gonna be like, congratulations, like,
To see. You're going to be like that.
I actually that's so funny. Yeah.
Right now, we're meeting on Thursdays, but next Tuesday, we
Everybody take the cookies and stuff. Send it in for them, so eat them.
Yeah, I didn't think you were until that, but.
You can put me back on.